customers' demands changing?
The world has changed completely. It's not that their demands have changed, but social media has now given them a venue to say, hey, you know what, you're not treating me the way I expect to be treated. It's giving them much more power over the brand. For brands to win in social media, winning in social media is not spewing some message. It's actually centers on that customer experience. What happens with the product? Do I get the experience I expect? And then when I do have a problem, do you help me or do you make it more difficult for me? And if you make it more difficult, I can take to social media against your brand. So the world's changed on us, and it's important for us to change with it. And not only just change, our customers are saying, you know what, customer experience is the top priority for me. Well, it needs to be our top priority. And this is when I look at contact centers, I always say, you know what, this is the time where you need to take the seat at the table. You need to guide the brand the right ways. And so we have to do business differently internally as well. So it's changing how we treat our customers, but it also has to change how we view ourselves internally. We're not the cost center. We're not the sales center. We're the relationship center. We're the core to our business, and manage it upward in that sense. So that's why I talk about in my book, At Your Service, and that's my view on how you win in social media.
And what are the challenge with this new generation of consumers?
I think the challenge is we have to change how we view ourselves. What do we do in a contact center? We manage to handle time. We manage to getting on the phones, being on the phones. We don't necessarily manage to customer experience. In fact, we often send messages to our own employees that the customer is not important. Our customers get that message. We send a message to our employees that they're not that important. They're our lifeblood. This is the lifeblood of our organization. So where many organizations look to outsource it and push the customer away as far as they can, now they have to find ways to be as close as they can to their customer. If you manage your call center right and your customer experience right, because of technology, you might not be touching your customer as often as you did. So every time you do, you have to get them to walk away going, wow, that company does care about me. It's a very different approach than to managing, oh, this person's annoying, they call every month. Two different things. So we have to change how we view it. Our customers' views are already there. In the past, the challenge they never had is they didn't have a way of saying it. Now they have a way of saying it, and they make it clear every day.
What is Citibank doing in this respect?
First of all, we do view our world does center on the customer. And I'm not going to say that that's not a change, because it is, in terms of the way we manage things. So it's required some restructuring of where service sits. It's now part of our businesses in a different way. It used to be separate, and I love that change. But it's all to make it so everybody is on that same page. So my view is the way you win, you have to do it over time. You're not going to change your company overnight. For anyone that says, oh, we're going to implement this and we're going to be totally different now, that's not going to work. But you have to have a strategic plan that starts at the top, that says, here's what we're going to do, and then you have to do incrementally things that fit that. And so, for us, it starts with the president of our consumer banking business. Manuel is very dedicated. In fact, we're in Mexico, and he came from Banamex, where the customer was the center of their business. And Banamex is part of Citi, but now he's doing that for all of Citi. And so it starts with his vision, but then it's taking the infrastructure and making sure it all matches up to that. And so I expect over the next few years, people will start to realize that the consumer is right at the center within our business, and that's how we're treating it. I look forward to that day, but I do know it's going to take years.
Right. How do you imagine the financial services in 5 years?
In 5 years, I envision it very different, but I say very different, not different from its core. So at the core, banking historically has been about relationships and community, which is what social media is about, which fascinates me how the two connect. And I think what you're going to see is banking is going to get much more into relationships. I think they've gotten away from that. I think the past 20 years, not just in banking, across all businesses, we tried to make the customer a number, and we really didn't strive to build a relationship with them. Where I see things going is companies are going to realize this mistake, and they're going to concentrate on building relationships. And as you build relationships, you can do it now in a scaled way. Social media, in my book, I talk about the scalable intimacy. But in social media, I can now know you for what you want the world to know in a more intimate way. It's a little difficult to do that when you're, banks that were merging with other banks and becoming these large entities. You couldn't do that on a scaled way. Now you can start to look at things a lot differently and be very scaled in how you do it. So we have to change how we view those things. I think that's already happening. And I think in 5 years, you'll even look at some of the larger banks, but I think you'll also see a lot in the mid-sized banks of, very core to being about relationships and customer experience and trying to build it where you desire doing business with them as opposed to forcing you to do business with them, which I think are the way we've been doing it. So I look forward to it.
And is this your first time in the Global Contact Forum?
It is my first time here, and it's beautiful, and the people that are here are amazing. Today I sit in marketing, and I've written books, and I talk at a lot of social media conferences, and that's not my people. That's not people I like to be around. What I see here are highly energized people where they're about creating that best experience and managing it properly. Not to pick on marketers by trade, but marketers they want to push a message as opposed to a business reality. Where I see in contact center people is they want to really create an experience, and they're striving to do it within the infrastructure that their business put in place. When you get to a forum like this, now they're getting together with friends and colleagues, and they're learning, things that worked in your business, now I can learn to manage that in my business. So that's a lot of fun. So to me, I'm having a great time.